something a part of the random buildings.
Yeah, yeah. But if you think about it,
What about Serbian food?
and then I get drunk with random Serbian kafana people. I wanted something a bit more chaotic than Western Europe and a lot less chaotic than Southeast Asia.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we have a chat with Tel. He's my colleague and support adventure. He's my boss because of marketing. We want to talk about how to work remotely, how to work from Serbia, how to live in Serbia, because he already here in total of around like 5-6 months. He really loved it, and I just wanted to interview him why he chose Serbia, how he works remotely, how it's life of like a digital nomad in Serbia, and so on. I hope this would be interesting for you. We also got some beers. Cheers! So Tel, can you introduce yourself? What do you do? And how you what do you do in Serbia? Why you're here?
Yeah, so my name is Tal. I am a world backpacker and traveler, and I work in digital marketing online remotely. I fell in love with travel about 5 or 6 years ago now, and I've traveled to more than 40 countries all around the world. And my two favorite regions were always Europe and Asia. And in Europe, I spent a lot of time in Western Europe in countries like Germany, Austria, France, Italy, Spain. And I really love the culture, the architecture, the food, the walking streets. Like, it's really beautiful. And I loved Asia because it's really chaotic, full of life and noisy, busy. The food is spicy, and it's just such a contrast from Europe, I would say. And how I ended up in Serbia is when I was in Thailand about 2 years ago, I met Eric, who was on this channel.
Yeah.
And he interviewed me for a job at Support Adventure. But back then I was still in my crazy travel backpacker kind of mindset, so I didn't start quite yet with the company, but he told me all about Serbia. He told me that it's a cheap, vibrant country with friendly people, and I remember he said it was the Chiang Mai of Europe, and Chiang Mai was my favorite city in Asia because it was quite walkable, there was friendly people, it was affordable, and there was a big digital nomad presence, which here it isn't as big, but it's growing for sure.
Yeah.
And so after Thailand, I went to India, and for 2 months I spent I was in maybe 8 or 9 Indian cities, which it was a lot for that time. I had 16-hour train rides, 20-hour bus rides, like all over the country. It was tiring.
Yeah.
And although I loved India and I wanted to continue traveling, I needed something more comfortable. I needed a break. But I wasn't ready to go back to Canada, where I'm from, or to Western Europe. I wanted something a bit more chaotic than Western Europe and a lot less chaotic than Southeast Asia and East Asia. So I decided to take up Eric's offer to come to Serbia and start working for Support Adventure. And I immediately found that this place is really interesting. It's not like many other Western European cities that I've been to, because people here, they live to live. They don't live to work.
Yeah.
The cafes are full all the time. The streets are beautiful, especially with the architecture. It's not like, let's say, Vienna or Budapest that has the same Austro-Hungarian architectural style everywhere, very grandesque and elegant. But there's a mix of socialist architecture. There's a mix of the Austrian-Hungarian architecture. There's also some Yugoslavian, era architecture as well, and various different statues. And no two streets here look the same. Even the Trg Republike, which is the main street, no two buildings are even nearly similar style. You have like a black glass building next to a beautiful European-looking building, next to a more Soviet museum, next to a modern 4-star hotel.
Random.
Yeah, really random, and it's kind of like, it's cool,
Yeah, random. When was first time you arrived to Serbia?
I arrived 2 years ago in 2019 in March.
So how long you stayed?
On and off. I stayed for about 2 months. Then I went to traveling a lot. I went to Macedonia for a couple days. I went to Belarus for 2 months and Ukraine for 2 months, and then I came back. I went to Germany it's like all over, but I would say in total, in that year I spent 4 months coming back to Serbia and spending time here.
And now, how long you're staying here already?
Let's see, October, November, December, 5 months.
Oh, 5 months. And
Yeah.
why? Because you like it or Corona related?
Both. I came here because I liked it and I wanted to come back. If there was no Corona, I would do many little trips to Croatia and Slovenia and North Macedonia and whatever. But now it's because the PCR test is expensive here. It's $180.
Oh, yeah.
And
And
you,
it's such a headache to make it, yeah. Like you
Yeah.
have to stay somewhere.
yeah. So now also I realize traveling, you don't really get the cultural aspect of travel as much as usual. So I want to pause my travel and just kind of focus on living here in
Yeah.
Serbia, having a bit more comfort.
Focus on Serbia. We have these nice bars and restaurants open.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's amazing. Like this is the last place where it's still something open in Europe, and you should come really.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
should come and enjoy with the people and don't care about this shit COVID.
Yeah.
It's only country which doesn't care much about COVID when you now look at the world.
Yeah. I mean, they care a bit, maybe not enough, but everything here is open until 8.
Yeah.
There's still some restrictions, like you can't organize large events, things like that. But shopping malls, restaurants, cafes, bars, they're all open. And life kind of goes on here. Like you don't really feel like it's COVID when you walk down the streets and
Yeah.
see the bars.
You don't have to do tests all the time to go to the hairdresser, for example, like in Austria and Germany.
Really? You have to
Yeah.
do a test?
Yeah, to go to
Wow.
hairdresser. Here we sit now drinking beer, we don't have to wear a mask. We can walk on the street, you don't have to wear a mask. Like in Turkey, you have to wear a mask when you're even on the street.
Yeah.
So it's really a lot of freedom here, and it's very, very nice. But tell me, what do you like particularly in Belgrade? What's something, apart of the random buildings?
Yeah.
Something what you really like about there is some, yeah, what is this like? You know?
There's many things. I like how walkable it is. Even going from neighborhood to neighborhood, you never need to take a taxi or a bus. I like how cheap it is relative to other.
Don't say word cheap because it's also kind of cheap. I would say affordable, you know, because cheap. I see it like cheap, like you would say. You know, people say it in the wrong way. You know?
Like relative to other European capitals, the prices here are lower and the quality is still high for what you get. So it's not necessarily like a diminutive word cheap, like oh that's so cheap. More just as you said, affordable, and your money goes further here, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. If you like have your business owner, you want to cut costs. Like Serbia is the best for. Like you say, value for money. You get such a good value in everything. Beer, food, apartments.
But I mean, if you want to, what I love about Belgrade isn't necessarily the affordability, because you can go to other countries. For example, Bulgaria is quite affordable as well. So is Romania. So is Kosovo. Albania is even cheaper than here. So is Bosnia. So it's not like the only place you need to go to for affordable life.
Yeah.
But it's like on top of everything else that I love, it also adds to it.
Yeah.
I love the just the people here. They're very kind. They like to spend a lot of times in social settings, in bars and clubs and restaurants, which I enjoy. Although I don't get to enjoy this now, I really like the techno club scene here. There's a club called Dragstore, and they have some really cool things. There's the Splavs, which are like floating nightclubs.
Wait, summer comes.
Yeah,
We go party.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's it's like a nightlife capital in Europe.
Yeah.
It's also a cultural capital, because this was the center of Yugoslavia. This was one of the largest cities, even in the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and you can still feel the culture here and how strong and prevalent it is, and also how I would say intellectual people are. At least the people that I meet, most people here are well educated relative to other places that I travel to.
Yeah, I agree. So many like people who work in IT or some kind of like higher professions, not like we study management and economics, more like something scientific or technical. Technical. It's because we also see opportunity in that subject. If we go abroad, for example, so we study more these subjects. Then in Austria there you study music or I don't know whatever shit you want. Like you don't hear people go more smart way.
And also, I think the last thing is Serbia is a very dynamic country, and it's changing very quickly now. You see a lot of new developments, like the Belgrade waterfront I don't really like it. That's a whole different topic, but you do see a lot of change. Geopolitically as well, Serbia is very close to China. It's very close to Russia. It's kind of close to the United States, and there's a lot of investments coming from the United Arab Emirates, for example. And so
And Europe, like European connection with Germany and
big
Austria.
European connection as well. It's of all the countries not in the EU, Serbia is the closest to joining the EU. If you look at the economic development, information, and so this place is changing. Serbia in 2 years is not going to be Serbia today. It's very dynamic, and you see it changing and growing and developing in front of your eyes. I've been here last year and this year, and even in this year, visually and economically, I feel growth. I feel change, and that's very cool, especially compared to places like Western Europe or North America that are already very developed, and they don't feel you don't feel the growth as much, if that makes sense.
I mean, look at that, Germany and Austria, they don't change at all. It's like you saw Germany for 10 years, you see Germany now. Like, if you live there, you don't see much of change. But here, really, people who live here for long term, the people who I watch on YouTube when they make a video, they say like, Serbia for 3 years, it's different Serbia than it's now. Like, it's growing 10 times. Then imagine what will be in 3 years. And also situation like with the real estate, with the land here, everything is changed so rapidly, with buildings and things. Like, it's a huge potential country. I think it's very interesting to be in a country where you see the progress, and not like you just see the same things every day and the same situation. And I see potential in Serbia. I think it's in the right way.
Yeah, me too. I see big potential in Serbia. A lot of growth already happened, and a lot more will happen. And I think if Serbia was to join the EU, that would be a really big spike in economic investments and developments coming on here. Maybe not as big as some people think. For example, in Bulgaria, when Bulgaria joined the EU, people anticipated things to develop a lot more rapidly than it actually has in reality. Serbia might be similar. However, if it does join, you're going to see a big spike relative to what it is now today.
So maybe some communist buildings will get destroyed.
Hopefully not. No. Don't destroy our communist building. I really love them. I love in New Belgrade, it's a very different vibe than in Old Belgrade, in Staringrad. Like, there's a river, and if you cross the river, everything becomes a lot more big, a lot more socialist, brutalist. And personally, I love that. Maybe not everyone loves that, but also I love you cross the river back, and you're in this elegant European city. So it's almost like you can go like east and west just by crossing a river.
Funny, but I also see like when you go to the river and see all these cafes and splavs, it's like such a different vibe. I don't know, I feel like I'm in a kind of like resort. You have been there, like a lot of cafes and restaurants,
of course,
in the water and the boats. People have their like small houses with a boat and and you have all this river, like two rivers together, and you are still in a huge, like Belgrade is a big city. I mean, it's a widespread city, and you have that kind of like resort part in summer. It's just such a different vibe. And Ada, right?
Ada,
Like you basically have like city, then you have kind of like really nice resort thing.
There's a beach there. And a
then
nice biking path.
Novi Belgrade, like shocking. Novi Belgrade. You have so many like contrasts, like such a big change in vibes, and everything is super nice.
And also there's a city called Zemun. Well, it's not a city, it's part of Belgrade.
I haven't been yet there, so I'm
it's really cool. It's a lot more Austro-Hungarian. It looks more similar to Novi Sad than to Belgrade. And it's just like a 20-minute bus ride away or a 1-hour walk. And it used to be a different country for much of history. So the river used to, on our side now, this was part of the Ottoman Empire for much of history, and the other side was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So in the architecture and the vibes, this was like the crossroad of culture, of East meets West, and you really feel it today.
From what I saw from YouTube videos about Zemun, it looks like really almost Austria. And is it true, like, people in Zemun call themselves, we are from Zemun, we are not from Belgrade? Like, but I still think that we're in a different city, like we consider it like we are Zemun.
There's a lot of pride with living in Zemun. I think, to be honest, it's a bit boring. There's not much young people living there. It's nice to go and escape the city, but I wouldn't live in Zemun
Yeah,
personally.
me too.
But if you want a nice, quiet, apartment away from the hustle and bustle of the
with the
city,
family. Yeah.
but be, a short bus ride away, then Zemun is a good pick. For that.
Yeah, that's probably better than Novi Belgrade for people who want to escape of the big city. Have you traveled in Serbia somewhere else?
Yeah, a lot. This year I went to a few mountains. I went to Kosmaj, Zakopane. Actually, no, Zakopane is in Poland. No, I went to Kosmaj, to Avala, and to Zlatibor, which are mountain areas. I've been to a lot of big cities. Like I was in Novi Sad, Subotica, Niš, and Smederevo, which is just like 40 minutes away from here. Not far. Also, a really nice city with a big fort in the middle.
You do like a day trip or you stay there?
I stayed there for 2 nights. I spent one night in Deliplatska Peščara. I might have pronounced it wrong, which is very beautiful hills and the very nice nature spot in Vojvodina.
Oh, okay.
But it's not north here, it's east of here. It's not the typical Vojvodina. You can see on a map, I can show it to you. And then I spent one day in Smederevo. In Novi Sad, I spent a week there last year and a week there this year. Subotica, I spent I think 4 days there. It's a very beautiful city. I think architecturally it's the most beautiful city. It's right on the border with Hungary. It's very Austro-Hungarian. It's very elegant, big buildings. And what's cool about it is that it was built for 100,000 people and more back before in Yugoslavia. It was, I think, the 3rd largest city in Yugoslavia after Belgrade and Zagreb. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And then once it split up and there became a border between Hungary and Serbia over there, it became a border town. And many people, they either went to Hungary or deeper into Serbia. So today there's only, I think, 20,000 people living there, a lot less. But it's a big, grand city, so it's very cool to see.
Wow, yeah, people who haven't been to Serbia but probably don't even know such a cities. Like, you have no idea where it is. People just know Belgrade and some people know Novi Sad. I also have been only to Novi Sad and Belgrade, but tomorrow, for example, I go somewhere else and hope to see more because, like, Serbia really worth it, like, to visit places, not just to be in Belgrade. It's really good that you did it. It's very remarkable.
Well, I'm a traveler at heart, so even if I'm locked out in a country, I'm gonna go to every corner of that country.
It's so nice, like you keep this curiosity. Yeah. It's nice,
And
really.
the good thing with working remotely is that I'm not stuck to one place. Like I could go to Novi Sad or Subotica for a week and just work from there, get an Airbnb, and it's a lot of freedom.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I'm looking forward till when COVID goes like away, you can go to Croatia to stay there for a week, or to Hungary, or I don't know, to Albania or something. Yeah, like you can go just and stay for a couple of weeks and to enjoy.
Last year I used to do every single weekend. I would do a day a weekend trip. I did a weekend in Slovenia, a weekend in Croatia, a weekend in Hungary, a weekend in North Macedonia. So what I also like about Belgrade, it's very well located in the Balkan region. So if you take a 10 or 12-hour bus ride, you can be in many other capitals and cool countries relatively quickly. The bad part is that the airport isn't the most connected and it's quite expensive to fly to some places. So if I lived in Berlin or London or even Paris or Budapest.
Well, London with this EasyJet, it's
Yeah.
But have you looked like Wizz Air? What about
Wizz Air? So before Corona, I used to always take a bus up to Budapest and fly anywhere from Budapest. Wizz Air is a Hungarian company, and there's a lot of cheap flights from there. So that's what I used to do when I flew to Ireland, I flew to Russia and to Minsk from Budapest. From Serbia, it's much more expensive to fly.
Even Wizz Air?
Wizz Air, they only fly to a few cities in Western Europe. I think to Switzerland, Germany, and UK or something like that. Not many routes. But now that the Hungarian border is closed, that's not an option anymore. So
Yeah.
now it's more expensive to travel, and you need a PCR test.
Yeah.
So it's
Now-
really expensive.
Now just enjoy Serbia. But still, we're gonna get a nice weather from tomorrow. I don't know, like it
Yeah.
seems to be winter is over. Like when we see
I hope so,
the
I hope
coming
so.
days, it's
Yeah.
like 15 until 17 degrees. And I think a lot of cafes will have this like sitting out areas open. Maybe also river places will open soon. I'm not
Yeah.
sure when.
Yeah.
But you can enjoy like sitting outside in a
Yeah.
cafe.
Well, since we're both from really cold countries, you know,
Yeah.
Russia and Canada, we can appreciate the warmth.
Yeah, like I could not appreciate more. Even like from Germany, like where I spent last years in Austria, it's much colder there than here.
Yeah.
It's so nice. Like you already feel you're much softer, and also you have here more sun, right? You have much
Yeah.
more sunshine. It's almost like in a resort. In summer, like when I spent here last summer, like there were only a few times of rain. It was like every day is sunny and okay hot, but when you like when it's hot, it's nice. You know,
Yeah.
it's just summer.
Yeah, I like when it's hot, but when I arrived last year, it was raining every day for 2 months. Last year, I think March and April, well, in 2019, it was rain. So there are periods of a lot of rain here too.
So we,
Or I was unlucky, I don't know.
yeah. Okay, at least next 2 weeks doesn't look like it's gonna rain, but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. At least now it's super nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Serbian food? Have you tried something and what you like, what you didn't like?
Funny story, when I arrived here last year, I was a vegetarian. So it's
Yeah,
not an
from
easy
Serbia,
city.
From India.
From India, yeah.
Yeah.
So the first 2 months was a struggle. Everyone is eating pretty much Serbian cuisine is a mix of some sort of bread, some sort of cheese, and some sort of meat.
And cream
Kaimak.
cheese, kaimak,
Yeah, yeah.
kaimak everywhere.
Yeah.
All meals.
Yeah. Unfortunately, after 2 months, I started eating meat, and then it became a little easier. Now I do like Serbian food, but I cook a lot at home because I
Yeah.
miss a lot of Asian food and you know, let's say Italian and French cuisine. And the restaurants here, they're nice, but I think I can make food better at home.
Yeah.
With like quality ingredients and things like that. So I guess the markets have really nice quality food. The grocery stores are okay. It's not as big selection as Germany or the UK for like, you know, healthy food or Asian food or things like that. But the restaurants are affordable at least, so
Yeah.
you don't need to feel guilty spending a lot of money or some money at a restaurant.
Like 20 euro for a meal
Yeah.
or something.
But
Yeah.
honestly, I prefer restaurants in better connected cities when it comes to international cuisine. I haven't had a lot of amazing Korean food or Japanese food or Thai food here in Belgrade.
Yeah.
I had much better food in, for example, Germany has a lot of amazing Vietnamese food,
Yeah.
especially in Berlin.
Yeah.
Here, you know, there's one Vietnamese restaurant that I know of. It's okay, but I guess I'm too spoiled from travel. But the Serbian and European food here is very good. The cheese is really nice. The bread is really nice. So depending on what kind of food you like, Serbia does have nice food. But I guess I cook a lot at home because I prefer the more Asian and international cuisine.
Yeah, that's why it really depends on your preferences. If you like such a food, like especially Asian, Serbia is not the best. I mean, because it's just mostly they offer Serbian food, right? And then you have it Italian or
Italian,
maybe
French,
I don't know,
European.
burgers and
Yeah.
something. But it's not that international. That's true. But most of the people like me, I don't care actually. Like I can eat wherever. But usually I also cook at home, just a simple vegetable meal. But in Serbia, really locals they like Serbian cuisine, so you should definitely try Serbian things and see if you like it or not.
Yeah.
Or just cook at home, if you don't like
Yeah.
it that much.
With Serbian
Yeah.
food, try cevapi,
Yeah,
try
it's-
pljeskavica.
Cibapi, like there a place Walter is really
Walter,
good.
yeah.
And I only had been there, so I don't know
Yeah.
about Cibapi.
Yeah, no, it's a good place.
Yeah, like Sarajevo, Cibapi. Yeah.
Sarajevski cevapi,
Yeah, so
that's really good.
because this is Cibapi, I think the original Bosnian or
Bosnian,
right? So you have to pick the Bosnian one, and this is like the best one made like I mean, everybody will like it, right? Like, I mean,
If you're not vegetarian, you will like it.
yeah, if you're not in Serbia, you have to be kind of like not vegetarian. If you're vegetarian, you have really limited options in local food. Like,
But it's getting better. There's new vegan places opening up. I went to a vegan restaurant yesterday, and there's more tofu and like vigapchi, which is vegan chavapi, in the grocery stores. They have it everywhere now. So I think in the last year it got much better actually. There's more meat alternatives. There's also a lot of health food stores called Zdrava Hrana, and they have a lot of tofu and some tempeh and meat alternatives there too. So it's getting better. It's not hopeless. If you're vegetarian, still come here. You can still find amazing food, but it's not gonna be every restaurant has a nice vegetarian menu or page or anything like that.
I mean, it's not a Bali, you know, like Bali is Bali, India. This is the places if you're vegetarian. Thailand, Serbia for meat lovers. Like, look, people here are pumped. People here are muscular because we eat a lot of meat. Do you want to be muscular? Eat a lot of meat, man. Like, it's simple like it is. If you want to be slim and sick, then be vegetarian. I don't know, but I eat also like chicken every day, and people here eat also like they don't eat much of pork. So pork is not that healthy, but they eat a lot of beef and mixed stuff, and also chicken. Like, it's not unhealthy, and they also eat a lot of like local products. So Serbia really good in local produce. So they have a lot of stuff they grow themselves.
Yeah.
And which is really big advantage from other countries who mostly export, like Canada. You export and import. You import everything, right? Like Canada, Russia, we import so much. Like,
yeah, I mean Russia has good berries and good, some like peaches and local produce.
Yeah.
But I don't fully agree with what you say about vegetarian is like skinny and unhealthy and meat is.
I'm joking. I know.
I know.
Yeah, people here are strong and because they eat a lot of meat. I see it like that,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really like this.
But you can live a nice, healthy, balanced diet without meat. It's possible.
Yeah, if you count everything, then
yeah, you need to have a lot of protein. Eat beans or tofu.
You need to pay a lot much more attention than you just grab a pliskavica, then you are done for today.
Right, right.
Your protein is full.
Yeah.
It's much easier. But I also think like in Serbia, like we have all these like markets things. Serbian people like to buy groceries in a market, like shopping there in the weekend.
Yeah.
And there you get a lot of good products, right?
Yeah.
This is really
You sometimes
nice.
have to haggle for the price. If they don't have a price on it, then they see that you're a foreigner by your, and they'll like triple the price or something.
No, how you say how much? Kakošte.
Kakošte.
You say kakošte with really Serbian accent, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, it's much more, not much more, but it has to be more affordable than you buy in.
Depends what. Some things are more affordable if they're coming local from Serbia. Some places they import like kiwis and mangoes and things, and that won't be as cheap as the grocery stores. But you can find more affordable and higher quality products in the green markets if you know where to look.
Yeah, there are a lot of markets here around the city. So you have in all Opština districts, you have different kind of markets with high prices, low prices. Like this one, you went with the Eric, that was expensive. There are more upscale markets, more normal markets.
I think the biggest market with the biggest selection and the cheapest prices in the city center is Zeleni Venac. Zeleni Venac market. It's really big. It's quite local. And the more expensive ones are Durčel market near Skadarlja, and this one that I went with Eric. I think it's Pololina market. I'm not sure what it's called exactly, but that one is more upscale, more fancy, but also more expensive.
So Tal, let's jump to people here. Have you met Serbian people, or you like to hang out with expats, foreigners? What was your
a mix of
experience?
both. Most of my friends here are Serbian, locals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. As I travel, I really like connecting with the local people all around the world. I do have some foreigner friends. Most of them left Serbia already because of COVID and because they're traveling and things like that. I don't know many people that stayed here long term, like me and you. but mostly local now. Yeah, last year I think it was more foreigner, and now with COVID it's more local.
So is there places where you meet them, which you can recommend?
Yeah, now I don't meet people often because of COVID and because of stuff, but before I was a social butterfly, I always went places. So the couch surfing is a really good place to meet people. There's a lot of language cafes. There's one in Kitsegrad called Language Cafe, and there's another one in Ulica Music Bar, which is near where we are now, that it's called the Polyglot Club. So very cool place twice a week to meet foreigners and locals speaking different languages.
Do you like, you come there, you talk in different languages?
Yeah, so usually they have tables. They'll have a English table, a Spanish table, a Russian table, a French table, and just sit down and speak to everyone in that language.
Wow.
So it's very cool, it's a lot of fun.
So even Serbian people can go there, for example, if they want to learn language?
Yeah, it's more than half of it is Serbian people.
Oh.
It's not only for expats and travelers.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And I think in Serbia, you go to a club or a kafana, and the people are so warm and nice. You just automatically meet people.
You just drink rakia, like give us more and more rakia. And you say that you're Russian because Tal actually speaks Russian, and he just say da, я русский, and then give me rakia.
Yeah, and then all the locals here, they're like, oh, ты русский, oh, Putin, давай попьем. And then I get drunk with random Serbian kafana people. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to meet really local people, go to Kafana in a city center in probably.
Any kafana. They're all full of Serbian people, and all of them. I think people here in Serbia have a natural curiosity for foreigners like us.
Yeah, I think so.
Unlike maybe other countries like Germany or Hungary where there's so many foreigners, no one cares if you're a foreigner.
Yeah, but just like we really don't care, like just zero attention.
And here's the opposite. People are like, oh, you're a foreigner, where are you from? Like, here, have a rakia.
It's almost like in India, but it's different way. In India, I don't know. It's like everybody will also pay attention that you're a foreigner, but here in a different way. Like
in India, it's too much attention. I think.
And we want to just take a pictures with you, like
all the time.
That's all what we want.
Yeah.
But here we're really curious why you are here. Like, why Serbia? Like, tell us why you like this country. Like, it's funny because people really want to know. I think foreigner opinion on their country, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but I mean, I don't care what people think about Russia. Like.
But I guess Russia is so big and it's so influential that people have a natural curiosity. With Serbia, I guess when you come here, you decided not to go to the more popular countries in Europe, so it's not the obvious choice. Belgrade is not the place where it's not Paris or London or Rome. So I think Serbian people take pride that you, as a traveler of every country, decided to come to Serbia, especially if you're from somewhere far away like Canada. I think they find that very interesting. And they take a lot of pride in.
Have you noticed, do they have particular curiosity for particular nationalities like Canada or US or African or
I wouldn't know because I only know my own perspective, and they are curious for both Russians and Canadians, but I'm assuming all nationalities. I think so.
Yeah, but they just also they really like to welcome people. I don't know, when I see people, I don't know, always say welcome to Serbia, I don't know, they probably happy that people come here, they're happy that people have this interest. It's so funny because nobody like that, Germans or I don't know, they have zero kind of reaction to that, I don't care who visits my country, who like my country, who don't like my country. I'm Russian, I don't care who someone moved to Russia and like this place, do whatever you want, you can move to Congo, you can move to Malaysia, wherever, but it's such a unique thing, maybe because we are so patriotistic, I don't know.
I think that also plays a role into it, definitely.
Yeah, but we have that pride, as you say, big pride for country, to share it with everyone. People just want to show you places, it's just I'm living abroad for 5 years now, and it's never happened to me in any country where I lived or was traveling to. No, but here.
Yeah, I'm the same. Especially, I spent some time in Berlin, and in Berlin, half of Berlin is foreign. You
Yeah.
know, so you're a foreigner, you're German, doesn't make a difference at all.
Yeah.
Here, if you're a foreigner, people have a natural curiosity towards you. Some
Yeah.
other places like maybe Budapest or Amsterdam, if you're a foreigner, the locals don't want to talk to you because it's so touristy. And both Amsterdam and Budapest and some other cities are so overrun by tourists that the locals feel, you know, almost like the tourists came and took their city from them or something like that. So there's
Yeah.
a bit more tension. Doesn't mean people aren't friendly in those places. I met a lot of friendly Dutch and Hungarian people, but I think the relationship to the city as a random foreigner on a street or a random foreigner in a restaurant is different here than other more expat friendly and more touristy European countries and cities.
And I felt also such a, for example, in Germany, such a immigrants full country. It has so many people from abroad, and they feel like that. Like people come there, they like take their country. You know, it's like almost occupation. I don't know. It's not like they are not really welcoming. Like I felt always like that's why I don't like to live there, and I don't want to go there because it's like. I feel like I'm taking something, you know. It's like if I gonna work there, it's like I'm taking someone's job, and it's like I came there just to make money and get use of the country, you know, and like.
But if you think about it, Germany, they don't have a sustainable birth rate. So 2.1 is a birth rate that needs to be sustainable to keep the population. Germany has a growing economy, meaning that they need more workers and more people to enter the workforce. And there aren't enough people being born in Germany to sustain that.
Yeah.
So the immigration really is an economic engine. It drives the economic growth for Germany in countries like that.
Yeah, they need a lot of people. Like they need for hundreds and hundreds, thousands of more people. But because Germans and German mentality and already like relationship to foreigners, it's not that good, and it's hard for foreigners because like you always like you feel kind of like not happy because you like going somewhere where you're not wanted. Although they are needed, yeah, people are needed in Germany, but I don't feel well when I live there. I feel like they don't want me to have me there, you know, like you
That's
have
unfortunate.
you have that thing. And in Serbia, because like there are still not so many foreigners here, and people are different. Yeah, you don't have this tension, and you just feel more happier here because people are happy to see you. They really want to help you to find your way here. Even you come here to get some job, you know, they would support you anyway. Like,
But also the jobs here in general are really shitty.
Yeah.
In terms of the salary, in terms of the expectations.
Yeah.
Unlike Germany that has, you know, quite high standards, here, I mean, people in the IT sector, they make a good living, maybe it's good, but the average government job, the average, you know, salary here, it's really not good. So most people, they don't come here looking for opportunities. Most people that come here have other opportunities from abroad. Like us, for example. You know, we bring opportunities to Serbia. We don't really take the opportunities here because the reality, they're not great. They're really not good. I mean, their jobs here, a lot of work needs to be done to increase the quality of life and the salaries here in Serbia for Serbian people, and it's an unfortunate fact. You know, interesting fact is that Indians can come here visa-free. They don't need a visa to come to Serbia, and all around Europe, I see more Indians than I see in Serbia. And I have an Indian friend living here, and I asked her, like, why are there so little Indians here? You know, they can come without a visa. And she said, Indian people, for example, that are trying to, you know, look for opportunities abroad, they are looking for places where they can get a good job, a lot of money. Not just Indians, you know, most people. And the reality...
That's why we go to Canada, for example, right?
Yeah, and Germany. But the reality, you can make more money in an IT job in Mumbai or Delhi than you can in Belgrade.
Yeah.
So, with that perspective, people don't really come here looking for opportunities. And I think that's why people don't feel that way, because even the foreigners here, they don't have Serbian jobs and Serbian companies. In general. There's some exceptions.
Mostly, like, I know the people here in Gazprom, Russians who come here to work for Gazprom. Because in Gazprom there are 25% of workers are Russians. Yeah, and yeah, some IT companies maybe, but still salary of course is lower than would be in Western countries, or even in Russia, in Moscow, you will have better salary than here. But still, like that's why people need to learn about opportunities when they can just come here maybe to retire. Because why would you retire in your country and like I don't know, and it's expensive and not that nice. Like you can retire here, or you can come here with your online income, which like it's much better to spend if you're living in Germany with an online income and like a freelancer and pay 50% of tax and have like 3,000 euro expenses per month. That sucks. When you can do it in Serbia
Yeah.
and bring money here.
I'm trying to convince my parents to retire and move to Portugal or Spain or somewhere in the coast because, yeah, retiring in Canada is just, it doesn't make sense. You know, life is so expensive.
Yeah.
And when
it's
you're
cold.
done working, why not enjoy your life somewhere warm
Yeah,
and somewhere
yeah.
cultural?
I'm planning to bring my father here because, like, I mean, Portugal is nice still, but because there are some limitation in terms of visas and resident permits and etc. For example, for some nationalities, Serbia could be the only way they could retire because it offers you resident permit for buying a real estate. You can just buy real estate for like 10,000 euro and have a resident permit, and then receive a resident permit, like permanent resident permit. Then you can receive a passport just by buying a real estate. In which country you can do that? In no Western country you can do that. In Portugal maybe for 1 million euro you can do that, but in Serbia you can come with 10,000 euro.
You sure you get a passport if you become a...
Yeah, if you live for 8 years.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So there are really, really few countries which offer such a ways to move somewhere. You know, if you don't like to live in your home country, or for me, my home country Russia is too far. If I live in Serbia, it's too far for me to go to my father all the time. And actually, flight tickets are expensive to Russia, which is quite ridiculous because 2 hours flight, but it's like 600 euro for direct flight.
Normally, if there's no COVID, you can take a bus up to Budapest, and I flew from Budapest to Moscow for 20 euros.
Oh wow!
One way.
Then my sister gonna go that way.
Yeah.
I'll tell her go
Right.
with the bus. She afraid to fly. She told me how I can go by train. I told her there are no train from St. Petersburg to Belgrade. Sorry, you're gonna ride train for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And like she don't like to fly. She's like I go only by train. I'm like good luck.
Yeah.
But really, Serbia is the next place to go and be and to move, like, for my opinion. Yeah, especially like we have income from online. We don't take money from Serbia. We only spend money here, which is good for Serbia. And hopefully we can also open the business here, to hire people here, to work also remotely on clients abroad also, not here. Don't open business to work with Serbians because anyway they have lower income to spend, so you need to have clients from outside of the Serbia. What are your plans? Like what are you heading to? Are you planning to?
I have no idea. I'm taking everything day by day. Usually I have everything planned out, but now during Corona, I don't know what's open, I don't know, I have no plans. I'm just staying here for now, enjoying life and taking it day by day. I think it's not very healthy to have plans, like at least travel plans now, because everything changes every day. Border openings, COVID, flight paths, so for now I'm here. And when I do decide I want to go somewhere, I'm going to make a decision like last minute. Like, okay, I want to go somewhere next week. What country is open? What are the restrictions? What are the flights? And then I'll make a decision. But for now, I'm here in Serbia.
Could you imagine to be in Serbia for the next like 3 years?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I can
Eric
imagine...
and me, we are here.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have
I can
us.
imagine spending half the year here, but in the winters I would much rather be in Asia. I like traveling, you know, maybe spending 6 months in one continent and 6 months in the other. When I'm in Europe, I can see myself in Belgrade. But I don't see myself in any one city for 3 years. It's not, and just Belgrade. It's like I'm a, you know, a
You're
traveler
too
by
nomad.
heart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're too vagabonds.
Sure, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stay in Belgrade and hopefully Tel stays also a little bit longer. So guys, I think we talked a lot today. This was already like 40 minutes of talk about Serbia. Yeah, guys, we are gonna enjoy maybe one more beer or vino, hot wine, I don't know.
Kuvano vino.
Yeah. And talk to you next time, guys, and see you here. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And cheers.